Well, hello there, everyone. This is JM764, and oh boy, it's been a while since I've made a video. I'm just gonna run through some of the update issues I've been having with the current build of Transport Fever, which is the fall update, effectively. Let's see, build number. Oh yeah, build number 35, 828 and higher at the moment, because right now it's build 35830. But yeah, well, I guess heck. Let me fix this. I'll get to it later. As I was trying to say though, there's a few issues I have with the new update. Nothing too major, and two are really just a very old bug. I think from a build far prior to this one. And then one bug that really isn't, it's just kind of how the game's naturally built. I'll zoom in. One of the problems, get this mod out the way, easy far, is right here, more or less. This is the one where I was just talking about the game being fundamentally broken. And this intersection area pretty much proves it, minus this section over this tunnel. Because this was built years ago. Pretty much stopped playing this map back in 2019 due to performance issues, and I'm coming back to it now. Well, actually, I think it was later than that. I think it was like 2020 I really stopped playing this map. This was always just a test of just mods in the traffic system, which by that point I had built up this massive map you see before you. But one of the banes of my existence right here, which isn't a bug, unfortunately. I think it's technically a feature, which Urban Games has already said they're not trying to add any new features. But it's this right here. For anyone who knows, a long, long time ago, probably 2, going on 3 years now, I think, I had mentioned I was going to make a video specifically about how much I didn't like Transport Fever's, Transport Fever 2's traffic system over Transport Fever 1 and a whole bunch of other transport-related games. And this is one of the biggest factors right here. Just the fact that, obviously, we have a 6-lane bridge that splits into 2 3 lanes. Ignore these 2 3 lanes trying to merge into a single one. This right here, I'll bring up the, I forget what this is called, but it's basically the lane system that underpins everything in the game. And if I zoom in, you'll have to ignore the railroad tracks underneath it. Try to get a good angle. But basically, as you can tell by these arrows, no matter what I do, even though this is clearly a straight 3 going this way and a straight 3 going this way, no matter what, every time I build one of these intersections, regardless of the orientation of it, the right side, which of course this being a USA-based map, always has the farthest left lane turn left into a U-turn into this other lane. No matter what I do. Like, I haven't found a single mod or building angle that fixes this, no matter what. And this has been the bane of my existence. Because obviously, this is a bridge. So naturally, when all lanes going across the bridge and all lanes returning across the other way. Now, there are some situations you do want to U-turn, but this is not one of them, as you can clearly tell. And unfortunately, with the amount of cars that travel down these 2 lanes, well, 6 lanes, I should say, alone, as you can see here, let me turn off the lights, traffic builds up quite far. because of this. It actually goes into a massive tunnel down here as well. And of course the bridge itself, which has the opposite problem on the opposite end, where there is a lane that actually turns here. This was actually a bypass for trucks, which used to have a bus lane specifically to reroute traffic, because that's another problem. There's just some angles where you pretty much need a bus lane in order to get vehicles going the right direction, which I'll try to show in a moment. And I have the game paused for a very specific reason. I believe it's mod related, but after a while the game just crashes due to assertion errors. It's a problem I've been having since the January build at the start of the year. But I'm not quite sure which mod is causing it, and this only has about 60 mods. And I say only 60 because one of my saves has about 1200. And pretty much all my saves suffer from it, so I think it's a commonly used mod I'm using, I just don't know which one. But again, I would love for these lanes to actually go across in this particular situation. These lanes are really supposed to be transferring over to the bridge itself. They're not actually supposed to U-turn onto this highway, because that's what this whole section over here is for. And I know this road network is a mess, but the whole point of this map was to be a mess of networks to see what worked and what didn't. But there's many examples of this where I am trying to build it properly. Like, let me see, let me go further down to something more normal. Like this section, which has the main 6-lane road that interconnects the city with these 2 bypass highways that go straight through it over top. This was actually a fun build, because this was long before there was that nodes mod that allowed you to like manually move the nodes to make up the road networks, which if I turn the lights back on, you see are these sections right here, which I'll get back to, because those also have a few issues now with the new update specifically. I hope the game doesn't crash when I try to show them off, because the game's perfectly fine as long as it's paused. But I believe it's whenever the game tries to build and update things that it crashes. Yeah, here's another example. These are only supposed to be on and off ramps, and this technically can be an intersection, but I prefer this specific area to go straight through. And again, to be fair, this really should have been a bridge. But there's not too much traffic here, so I don't really mind it. Where else? I believe, yeah, this side works fine, of course. And of course, this side U-turns again, which forces it down to 2 lanes, but then back up to 3. It's very annoying, because one thing I will say about another game, City Skylines 2, while it does still kind of do the same thing, it is much easier to resolve this. And one of the easiest ways I can think of is actually just plain having an 8-lane road, because even if, you know, this functionality still exists, that would still allow at least 3 lanes as opposed to 2 in this situation to go across. And I don't mind that so much, especially with the new bypass feature, which I will get into in a moment. Yeah, these are 2 lanes. Like, this is a good case of where it does work the way I expected, where I do want this lane to turn only. And I also want this lane to turn, but also go straight, which is why I upgraded these to 2 instead of the ones they usually are when you build them. Like, this right here, yeah. Yeah, so that's a good example of it working correctly. Here's another bad example. Again, I want these to mostly go straight, because this is supposed to be a highway. But it doesn't. And, ooh. Oh, yeah, there it goes. Keyboard was acting up for a moment there. Let's see, what else, And apologies about the video quality. This is mainly, oh, actually, the game's trying to update right now. That's annoying. Let's see, can I? No. Let me bring back up OBS real quick. Apologies. This is a very impromptu video, like no planning whatsoever. Yeah, just trying to update the game right now, and I've told it multiple times to stop. Yeah, that's another issue I've been having. There's so many mods that the game constantly tries to update, which breaks a lot of things. Let's see, is that actually... that could be... I don't think it is. No, it's not. I think it's just a mod update. But this is another problem that it caused. Now that cars are trying to constantly swap over, it has built up traffic everywhere. And again, here's a good example of how the old standard was, where you just have 2 lanes that force cars down it, and then the 3rd lane be just for buses and trucks only. Because that was the only way to get around traffic issues originally. Here's another remnant of it. Like, don't get me wrong, I do love this game, but even with the current update and allowing bypasses, it really just doesn't fix the original problem, which is, of course, the fact that the inherent building in the game really messes up things. Let's see, where else should I show off? Again, these are some wacky intersections in this area. Yeah, that's one thing. I'd actually fixed this earlier, but the game crashed, so of course it didn't really save it. And even if I loaded that save, it would just crash again. What else? As far as the things like bridge upgrading, that worked fine. Like, again, most of the updates just fine, but I was really expecting more out of the traffic update, honestly. Because this really is a case of fixing one problem and breaking something that worked before. Oh, speaking of which, how long into this video? Geez, 12 minutes. I will try to make timestamps because I'm very pressed for time. Because I'm actually in the middle of the Industry Giant 4.0 playtest, and that ends today. So I have to contact those devs as well. It's been a very busy week already. But I'm just going to build this track real quick. Again, I do like these parallel line guides. I kind of wish there was a 45-degree angle, because that does come in handy every now and then. Yeah, like right about here would have been nice. I can kind of understand why they didn't. But at the same time, that's just a nice feature to have. That and having elevation listed under here. Because there is a mod that does that, but it'd be nice to have it in-game as well. But anyway, we have 2 tracks here. And of course, diamond crossings have been a thing since Train Theater. Unfortunately, I can get... yeah, you can already see the problem right here. If you look carefully, you'll notice it's trying to effectively loop on itself when you try to build a crossing. Like, it's fine if you do a cross, because it doesn't count that. And it's fine sometimes. Well, actually, even the regular crossing is having issues now. That's actually not a problem I encountered beforehand. I had another map I just built a single crossing for. But this has been a problem for a while, pretty much since the January update, where trying to build a single or diamond crossing for tracks just breaks everything. Again, it shouldn't, and I'm not sure why. I can't even build beside it anymore. Yeah, and I'm not sure what's causing it either. So the only real way to build diamond crossings is just to go down the entire length and do it. Which doesn't make any sense, but it does. Even that still tends to break. If I recall, that should be a functional diamond. Like, let me make it wider, because I could build a 4-track diamond before. It's not exactly feasible in most situations, but when it is, it comes in handy quite a bit. Let me try this again. And if I had an older build of the game, I would show where it works perfectly, obviously, because this map also has a very interesting interchange of tracks. Like down here, for example, you can clearly see it work just fine due to all these intersections just crisscrossing all sorts of ways. Again, most of this was built without building mods or the construction mover that I commonly use now. Yeah, you can see all these intersections and junctions work perfectly fine when I built them. Let me try to build this one more time, see if I can get it working. Yeah, again, across 4 tracks it was fine. And now across 2 it works. Let me check. I'm going to start on a node. Yeah, starting on a node works just fine. Yeah, and I think this is the main problem. Like, let me try to build an exact length of track here. Whenever the game decides to. I'm going to save it, of course. I have a feeling this is an issue due to just how the game calculates a crossing. I think 87 meters is long enough. We'll see. If I recall, this should be long enough. Yeah, now this crossing works just fine. Yeah, because a decent crossing is usually 80. Yeah, see right here. It should work, but it doesn't. Yeah, now it works on this side. Just very nonsensical. Yeah, now it's working again. It is very temperamental. That's just something that's hard to deal with. Like, you try just building out a regular section again. This time, just kind of willy-nilly. 13. Yeah, now it's working again. Interesting. Alright, learned something new. Still a problem though, as older builds pretty much build those instantly. Try one last time to be sure. Yeah, it works fine now. Oh, nope, it broke again. Yeah, this is just the kind of thing me and a bunch of other people have been fighting with. Like, PC Gadget has, yeah, oh, it's totally broken that side. Yeah, me, I think PC Gadget and a couple of other Transport Fever 2 players I've noticed have had this issue. Yeah, now it's completely broken. Interesting. Yeah, I just don't know what's causing it, unfortunately. Because as far as I recall, nothing was really changed in the January update. But that's around the time I noticed it could have been the update before that. I just don't recall it being a problem in 2023 up until, I want to say, the end or beginning of 2024. Because I've always kind of played this in my spare time, and I really haven't had a lot of time to even play. Mostly just been watching others play, and it wasn't until recently that I started again and noticed this. But that's still a problem. And yeah, to be fair, they're older problems again. I'm going to try and let the game run and just show off the new what's it called again? Overtake, sorry. Overtake feature and how it works, but also doesn't. Actually, let me go back over here because this is a good example of it working well if I could get enough traffic to build up in time. I might have to load an older version of this map just so it doesn't crash before I get to show it off. I will show the crash error, since this is recording my whole screen. I apologize about the game speed. This map is pretty much about as intense as it can be. Because there are... simulated people? Yeah, almost 62,000 simulated persons on this map. 50 towns, 84 industries. So this is about what I consider a maxed out Transport Fever 2 map under normal conditions. Because I believe it's just a medium map. And of course I'm using mods, and I believe maxed out building modifiers to make the towns expand naturally as fast as possible. This is a very old save, so there's probably just some inherent bugs in it. Because again, I think I've been playing this since like 2020, if I recall. I would know for sure, but a lot of my old saves got nuked when my storage server died back in 2022. And apologies for just like kind of randomly going around the map. I'm just checking on things. Let's see. Trying to see if I can spot something. Everything seems okay. I might just have to load up that oververted. Because originally, oh, darn it, it did it when I wasn't looking. But I'll just explain it. Like, this is a perfect example where the overtake is absolutely a good idea. Because this is a very weird intersection right here at this station. Honestly, this whole area is. Basically, what's going on here is effectively, of course, we have the station here. This was built eons ago, like in the 1900s. Of course, we had the bridge going over it. And then I decided to build this weird bypass. Again, it's very weird because there's obviously a highway right here, and this was the main one in town. This was supposed to bring people from directly in the middle of Denver to the station, as well as people from Roseville, which was not supposed to be a megalopolis, but ended up being one, directly into the station as well, and basically into Lower Erie here. Like, if I bring up the... Yeah, here we go. There's a massive tunnel that cuts through the... Well, I want to say downtown, but it's obviously much further south? Or north? I forget which direction was supposed to be north on this map. I think north was this way. I think so. So effectively, the west side has this massive tunnel underneath it. So I built this odd bypass because at the time building a second bridge was not an option, even though there's a very broken tunnel, given how steep it is. But basically I was going to have all my buses and stuff run through here instead, while all main traffic would take into town this way, which clearly doesn't work all that well due to the whole lane issue right here. And again, I had fixed this earlier, but the game crashed when I was simulating it. But basically, because of the way this was constructed, I can't even remove this bus lane, which has always been an annoyance to me. That and the stoplight next to it. Ooh! Again, sorry for this video being all over the place, but that is one thing I've absolutely always hated about this game, no matter what. These traffic lights. To be fair, this is technically not a bug. This is, I believe, due to the fact that technically a construction can't be fixed here because of how broken the collisions are in this area. Because no matter what I do, it just comes back because obviously I can't remove this road or upgrade it because of the tunnels and the angle it's at. However, one thing I've always hated about this game is this right up here. The fact that pretty much I always try to build stations before traffic lights are invented, because the moment they are, no matter what, if a station is built directly into an intersection that can support a traffic light, it always builds it. And in some cases, like this one, it's actually a good idea. Because naturally, if there were a lot of traffic here, you would want all these lanes to naturally filter themselves through the light. Granted, there's not a lot of traffic here, as this was really just supposed to be a loop road around the city, with all these lanes just kind of either merging into the loop, this tiny little street which only goes to this little section, or the station itself. So in this case, I don't mind there being a traffic light, but there are absolutely situations where I hate the fact that there are light here. I'm not sure if I built it on this map. That one's pretty natural because that's a main road. Where's a good example of one? Ah, yes, exactly, right here. So this is clearly what was originally a main road right here, and kind of an artery, really. Yeah, this is actually part of the loop road right here. So we have the loop road, which terminates right here in the middle of the city, and technically is supposed to turn and turn. But there's already so many intersections that I really don't want a traffic light right next to another traffic light, because there's already 2 traffic lights right here. I would prefer that vehicles just pass through here. Unfortunately, due to the station being here, which was built a long time ago, as you can tell by the road texture, but new enough that traffic lights were invented, there are now 3 traffic lights here. So even if I got rid of these 2, which I can easily do, honestly, because really those aren't needed due to the fact there are even more traffic lights near that. No matter what I do, I cannot get rid of this one. So cars will always stop effectively in these tiny little lanes right here, no matter what I do. And I absolutely hate that on roads that don't need them. But unfortunately, because station roads aren't considered part of an intersection, there's no way to turn that off. That and the fact that a lot of times the cities will just build traffic lights in spots I don't want them. Let me see. Usually on medium roads. Usually... where is it? I don't see any good examples on here, as most of these roads were upgraded. Let me try Roseville, as a lot of this town wasn't built by me. Those are fine. Yeah, stuff like this right here. Like where you have this loop road, and it really doesn't make sense to even have traffic lights because there's barely anything on here up until about here. And even then, that's just this main road merging into a loop. So traffic lights perfectly fine there. But the fact they have like traffic lights for every single minor road, like these little tiny streets, is very annoying when you want traffic to basically just flow freely around the city in part of this loop. So then I have to go in manually and remove each one of them. And then if the game decides to upgrade a road, it just puts it back. So just the ability to turn off automatic traffic light building would have been a godsend. But technically that's a new feature, so I doubt it's going to be added. I think that's everything I want to cover for now. Again, I've been trying for like 2 years to write up a video and script, because this definitely would have been a video essay, as there's other games that do a much better job of this, or a much simpler job. I think the only thing Transport Fever 1 needed, really, even though it only had, I think, 4 lane roads, was just traffic lights. Like, that would have solved so many issues. Because that game's notorious for vehicles just getting absolutely stuck in intersections. Unlike this one, where even though they get stuff, they kind of just force themselves through eventually. I guess that is one more thing. Just how the traffic lights work, but again, better for the video essay than this. But I'm just going to let the game run now until it inevitably crashes, because unfortunately, there's a mod, I believe, somewhere causing it. Because as far as I can tell, a stop game never crashes. There is a broken map generation option for the desert maps for the USA, which I might show off when the game crashes. but I'm pretty sure that's because of an old mod that modified some files that I'm still trying to read. And this whole save, I've already mentioned, well, not save, this whole install really is horribly broken. This is my main install from 2019. It's been moved around several times, and I had a massive oops where I accidentally basically unsubscribed to like 6,000 mods simultaneously, and ever since then my mod install has been absolutely wrecked. Even when all the mods are physically on the computer, a lot of the time it was reading them wrong. I think it's been fixed by this update, but I'm not sure. I would have to reinstall all those old mods again. And it's just an absolute mess, unfortunately. Again, I'm blaming most of that on the mods. But things like the traffic lanes, of course, I'm blaming on this. Just being part of the game itself. But yeah, I wish I could speed up, but unfortunately due to all the mods and simulation, there's not much I can really do, because the game speed naturally won't increase just due to how hard the game's being pushed. And it's not like this is a slow system by any means, other than like GPU, as I do have a RTX 4060 Ti 16 gig, but this is a mini PC with OCCULINK and it's not plugged in right now, as I haven't had time to set it up. But you can tell, like, it's a 7840HS, which, honestly, for integrated graphics at, what is this, I think, 3440 by 1440 resolution. Maximum textures, like, minimum quality settings. I can't set these to high, but, of course, it would just make this run even slower. But you can see, CPU-wise, even with OBS running, it's still not that bad. Like, sure, 80 to 90% spikes, it's pretty bad, but that's mostly due to OBS, just due to the fact that the GPU is already far too stressed out, just trying to run the game itself. So I have to put most of it on the CPU to encode the video. Usually without encoding, this is closer to around 40% usage. So still plenty of CPU headroom. Mostly just the game pretty much bottlenecking itself, as you can see here with this traffic. Again, the overtake feature, very good feature to have, but just due to the fundamentals of the game, very broken. Like, even if I reduce this to, did I have it as 2-lane earlier when I fixed it? Let me see. Yeah, I can still do a 2-lane here. Which then forces this down to effectively 1 lane. Get rid of, oh yeah, I can't get rid of it. I forgot I have to rebuild it. Clipping issues. That I'm not too concerned about. There is a mod I could just effectively rebuild this easier with, but it is possible to fix this manually. I just hate it crashed earlier because I was about to save when it crashed. And technically I could have reloaded that save, but whatever. And again, there is some utility, like these cars are clearly turning across here, but again, I don't want them going across here. I want them to take these streets down here instead. Because I think these are just bypassing this whole section right here. Because technically it's faster due to the high speeds, I believe. They're not really taking this intersection down here, despite the fact that that's the exact path I want them to take, because this is supposed to be a highway in and out only. It's not supposed to be a cross. And again, it's a matter of like 6 lanes being forced down to effectively 4, and then back up to 6, then immediately down to like 2. Yeah. Again, a lot of this is just due to how this intersection was built. Like, realistically, I could get rid of this little overpass right here. It serves like no function other than really for this road depot right here, just to make it easier to send vehicles across. think getting rid of it actually fixes it, though. Like, if I destroy it... Well, it kinda does. Again, it's not really a needed intersection right there. This lower one definitely is, because it goes from this side over to here, as well as to this side. Because I didn't want them all being funneled down this intersection and having to turn. I wanted it to be a highway crossing. Again, a very absolutely absurd intersection area. Because originally it was just this right here, and then there were too many cars, and then, you know, a second highway that actually runs through the middle of the city. Like, again, this was just me just building stuff, really. But even if I did want to build a realistic road network, you can see where the problems lie. Like, this is just a highway, and oh, I think the game crashed. Yep, it crashed. And it's probably going to throw that error again. Let me see. Just waiting for it to finish saving here. Yep, there it goes. It crashed. Yeah, assertion failure. And I have no idea what is causing this. Like, let me bring up Notepad. I believe this is the latest one. Notepad++ here. And for Fever, I'm just going to... let's see, assertion failure. Get edges, path edges first failed. Of course, the mini dump. Something about the input, which I don't get. Like, I think it's just the UI explaining what happened at the time. But this is all it tells me right here. Let me reload, of course. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, and this is all the information it basically gives me. And it says it's part of the game itself, which doesn't make sense. Because again, in a stock save with no mods, it's perfectly fine. So I'm thinking it's reading something in one of the mods and it crashes just in the base game itself, but that's the only part it's giving me. And of course there's the crash dumps, but yeah. Because all this is just cache data. And that's fine. Incompatible mod. The contours. Again, this map is so old, there's a lot of mods that are technically obsolete now. Great shapes failed. Yeah. I'll try to send this save. Because again, this save predates a lot of stuff, so really I should build a whole new one, but I just don't have the time at the moment. Industry expanded. Yeah, I just don't see anything in particular in this list that immediately causes the crash. So I'd have to go through at least this list of mods right here and try to find it. Oh well, I'll just have to fix it later. That's everything I can think of for the current update. Other than that, all the other features seem to work fine, like the bridge upgrades, which I had actually used prior, the 3-way track switch. Like, everything else about the update's fine. It's just boils down to effectively fixing the diamond crossings, especially, because that's actually a bug. I wish an 8-lane and 4-lane one-way option was available, because an 8-lane road would actually solve a lot of that problem without having to fix the function itself. And there are mods that do it. It would just be nice to have it in game. And perhaps an earlier 6-lane as well, just kind of like a dirt road one, to make it easier to build around when you eventually upgrade stuff. But again, that's technically a new feature, so I doubt it would be added. That, and that's really about it. Everything else I covered. And once I get some more time, I will just cover the road system, since the final update will be out, and then I don't have to worry about things changing again, because I have a revision of that script I originally made. I had to revise it 3 times before I had to put it away to deal with personal stuff. So maybe I'll finally get around to it. Because even if like the stuff was fixed, I still feel that the road simulation is a bit wonky. Especially for a transport-based game. Like, for a city builder, this probably would have been fine. And honestly, with the announcement, I'm pretty sure that the next game is actually going to be a city builder versus a transport simulator. That, or maybe an industry giant kind of game, which is funny, considering I am playing that playtest immediately after I finish recording this. As I have to record a video for them, of course. I doubt Urban Games is going to release a game completely out of genre, but then again, they've been at this for like 10 years plus, really. Probably closer to 15, thinking about Train Fever's development before they released it, since what is it, like 1 or 2 weeks? I think it's next week. Yeah, next week is the full release, well, the anniversary of the full release of Train Fever, as that's been 10 years. Yeesh. But anyway, this has been JM764, and I will see y'all next time. Bye, everyone.